Welcome to Champion Minded, the podcast for those who aim for excellence, not only in the sports arena, but in life. My name is Allistair McCaw, author, speaker, mindset and performance coach, and my goal is to help you unleash your unlimited potential and provide you with the tools to achieve greatness. Are you ready to become champion minded? Then let's do this.
Hey everybody, Bowers here, and this is part 2 with regards to Allistair McCaw's Mental Toughness Series, and part 2 is all about building confidence, and I think this is super important. It's something from my personal experience I've had to really protect, meaning confidence throughout the work I do on my podcast show with regards to really any task, because confidence is so important. It's like energy when we show up and do things. So Allistair, let's get straight to it. In your opinion, from your experience, how would you define confidence?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because confidence can be, different things to different people. Confidence is shown on the outside, but real confidence to me is an inside-out job. It's how you're feeling on the inside. There was a story it was a documentary I was watching of I think it was a UFC fighter, or what's the other form? MMA, I think it was. And it's a fighter, I can't remember his name, but he was just a normal looking guy, not super muscular, no tattoos, no scary look or hairstyle, whatever, when someone's trying to look tough or trying to look confident, if you want to put it that way. And he was just, a killer in the ring. He was just, I think he was a world champion as well. And they said to him, you just look so ordinary and you just look so like normal, like guy stepping into the ring. He said, confidence is inside. I don't need to show on the outside that I'm confident, or I look scary, or whatever it may be, for example. And he says, it doesn't intimidate me when I see somebody that looks that way, for example. And that was just an example to me of that, that confidence is an inside thing. It's what you think about yourself. It's very, very closely linked to ego as well. And obviously ego is something that we have to control an uncontrolled ego becomes cockiness, which can obviously be detrimental to our results and so on and so forth. But yeah, confidence is something, like you said at the beginning of this part, is so important and integral to our success and how we do in life.
So just digging deep with confidence, I think people will know what it is from their experience. They've some part of a task or experience confidence, but to dig deep on it, where does it come from? Is it just accomplishing a goal? Is it the fulfillment of something? What are your thoughts on that sort of way of looking at confidence?
Yeah, look, confidence definitely comes from our self-image, of what you think about yourself. When you get up in the morning and you look in the mirror, what are the first thoughts? Are they self-defeating? Are you pointing out the things you don't like? Are you going straight there? Or, for example, are you going to, and I love my stick-it notes and so on. I have notes on the mirror that say, you're awesome, or inspire before you expire. And those might all sound cheesy and corny, but that helps my confidence. We're not born confident, just like I like to say, you're not born a winner, you're not born a loser, you're born a chooser. Confidence is the same thing as well. It comes down to your self-image. But one of the things I love to say is that confidence is like a brick wall. How you build confidence is that you recognize the small little things you do well on a daily basis, whatever that may be. You achieved a goal, you hydrated well, you finished a project, or you read 10 pages of a book, for example. Those are the bricks of your confidence wall. When you recognize those, you put a brick on that wall. Or if you're an athlete, for example, because I know there'll be athletes listening to this, is that you warmed up well, you got to practice on time, you were focused. That's a brick on the wall. Recognize those things. And by doing that, you build your wall of confidence. On the other hand, berating yourself, only pointing out the things that you're not doing well, or self-talk, I'm stupid, I'm dumb, why did I make that mistake, why did I do that? You're taking a brick off your wall of confidence. So you can see it as a wall, for example, of bricks. Recognizing all the good things builds your confidence.
So it sort of goes back to the word perspective of looking at something positive or negative, but it's our choice with regards to where we go. Because I love that metaphor with regards to the brick wall. But, let's say adversity, and I mean real adversity. I don't mean we've said on the show, my running and trying to get, do 10K under an hour. But in life, we get these curveballs of the unexpected and our confidence can just shoot right low. How do we build that wall? How do we get that first brick into play? Particularly from something challenging. And I mean really challenging. It could be cancer, or I'm going deep with the example because confidence isn't like a light switch. There could be times we have to self-reflect, for example. So I love your thoughts on that.
Yeah, self-reflection is a big word there, as you said. One of the things I do each evening is write down 3 things. What did I do well today? What could I do better? And who did I make better today? So, those things, again, journaling has helped me build my confidence as well of recognizing things and self-reflecting. Confidence is something that, and we haven't spoken about self-talk yet, which I'm sure we'll get into, is the importance of what you're saying to yourself on a daily basis. What are your thoughts? How do you become a more positive person? Because positivity is linked to confidence. I've never met a confident person who's not positive. So, each day we have negative thoughts. That's normal. The most confident people in the world have negative thoughts. But the question is, how long do you entertain those negative thoughts? How long do you let those stay there? Something I've trained myself to do over the years is catch myself being in a negative mindset, because I know that breaks my confidence down, and change the words I'm saying to myself, or change the thoughts, or get rid of that negative thought as quick as possible, and don't linger on it, don't fester on it, for example. So that's something, confidence is an everyday skill that needs to be worked on. You're absolutely right saying that, you just don't end up confident. So if you were to say, okay, what's the first step in getting more confident, as you just asked, I believe it definitely comes down to, what you're saying to yourself. That's where it starts.
So is it like having like a pep talk to yourself? I mean, specifically on confidence. I know we'll dig into deep with like self-talk, but I mean a real pep talk in regards to yourself before you show up for relating to athletes, before an event, before training, because there's some athletes who may not be up for training that particular day, but they've still got to show up and do the job. It's like a business executive's got to do a presentation, really not in the mood, and they have to do a pep talk just to get them in the right frame of mind, if anything, to deliver what needs to be done. Is that how?
Yeah.
That's how you would look at it. I think that's what I'm trying to say from a strategy.
A lot of people. Let's just take public speaking, for example, or speaking. On a Zoom meeting, conference with work colleagues, whatever. That is a great fear for a lot of people that might look confident on the outside, for example. I have a mentorship program where I work with some successful people who you would never guess it, but they have stage fright, or before going on TV, for example. So that's one of the questions we'll ask is, how do I become more confident in doing these things? Speaking on a Zoom meeting, for example, in front of 20 or 30 colleagues. And again, it all comes down to what you say to yourself. Also, understand it's going to be uncomfortable at the beginning. It's not going to be, when you did your first few podcasts, Ed, you weren't just rolling off the bat. If I listen back to some of my first episodes of my podcast, I honestly would like to delete them, because we're self-critical, and we're like, why did I do that? And that, but that's all part of the process. To build confidence, you have to go through uncomfortable situations. Ask any high performer, if they were to go back to the beginning of their career, or even go back 10 years, and they would cringe at some of the things they did, me included. Confidence is something that is built over time, but it's an everyday skill. Just like you go to the gym to work on your biceps or work on muscle, the mind is a muscle. Your confidence is a muscle. If you're not training it on a daily basis, you're not going to be getting stronger in that area.
So it's all about building the reps. So that's the term I want to use because, that's where it's key in anything. The gym, doing podcasts, it's repetition. So I want to dig deep on this term. And you have just said it then, but I want it for the listener to go, right, I know how I can get better at this. I've just got to do the reps. Because the one thing I want to highlight is, I don't know about your thoughts, but I have seen a statistic that people quit after episode 8 because they realised the workload of doing a podcast. And all I was going to say is when I got to episode 10, I've seen some statistics. It's average people quit. So they launch the podcast and then they stop after episode 8. So
you should say that. And I apologize for jumping in there, and I'll let you finish.
Yeah, no, it's cool. Yeah. But I'm just saying is for the listeners and for the question I'm going to ask you, how important is not quitting right at the beginning, and maybe the confidence come after episode 8 or after, I don't know, running 8 miles. I'm just sort of keeping 8 as the figure so people can visualize it. But that's my question, not to quit so early.
Yeah, exactly. And, I was speaking to someone a day or two ago and asked him, how his podcast was going, and no longer happening. We know that a lot of people started podcasts last year because they had time and they were at home, but I'm sure more than 95% have already quit that one. So it's perseverance. What's given me confidence is the more and more uncomfortable situations I put myself into. So, at the beginning, public speaking or whatever it may be, I wasn't maybe as confident. Now, I've, like you said, put the reps in. And of course there was, moments along the way where, doubting yourself or whatever. Can I do this? Should I do this? Should I continue with this? But, push through. And, the most successful people have had those same areas where they wanted to quit. But, it's about persevering. It's about pushing through. It's about, developing grit, so to say, is enduring what's uncomfortable. And I just encourage people out there, when you start something, it's going to be uncomfortable, but that's all part of the process.
I was going to say, how important is the word endurance? Because I think that's a key word with confidence. It's how you cope with the ups and downs. Like, I don't know your experience of podcasting, Alistair, but there's periods, I don't know, I think in total over the 6 years, there have been 4 Tuesday evenings where I've got to get a podcast out there because I'm not going to let that be an excuse to go, don't worry, I'll do it next week. I'll have a week off. I've honestly, the last 3 years, I've not missed a Tuesday of launching a podcast just from, maybe it links to self-discipline. Maybe we can talk about that right now. Like, does confidence relate to self-discipline? Relating to the example I've just given you.
Yes, and if you go back to part 1 on mental toughness, again, you were given a choice of you could choose to not do that on a Tuesday evening and leave it, but you made a choice. So there's another example of mental toughness, by the way, is you had a choice there. You took the route which was more difficult instead of easy. The easy one was like, I'll do it next week. It doesn't really matter. And you didn't, you sat down, and anybody who's running a podcast or whatever will find out very quickly that it's not easy. Quality of content and research. And I know you, for example, are someone that researches your clients thoroughly. You spend hours on it. We might only get the 20 minutes or half an hour of the finished production and go, it's pretty easy. Just sit down and just talk for. You probably put, honestly, at least 5 to 10 hours of.
I average a 6. I say I've averaged 6 hours from start to finish, from getting the guest on the show to them promoting it. Yeah. So.
And I know, exactly, and I know we're going off the.
We are. We'll get back to sport in a second, but it relates to confidence.
Exactly.
So
is that and there's the big word, preparation. Confidence. I believe confidence comes down to 3 things: preparation, putting in the work, which you have done, or which a great athlete's done, or somebody in corporate. Self-talk, what you say to yourself, because you can be very well prepared and talk yourself out of it. I've seen it at the highest level in sports. Working with a former world #1 athlete who didn't want to go out and compete in the final one day. Well prepared, but just was talking yourself out of it, so that can happen. And then the third one is momentum, is gaining momentum in what you're doing. Like you just said there earlier, the reps. Those are the three things that I believe build confidence. Preparation, you've got to put the work in. Self-talk, what you say to yourself. And number three, momentum. Gathering momentum reps, if you like.
Actually, you've just sparked another sort of metaphor, because I know you like them. One of my mentors, Chris Ducker, said it's like a steam train, and you put in coal. You put that one piece of coal on, then two, then three, and then the train gets quicker and quicker. The steam train gets quicker and quicker, and that's how you build the momentum. So maybe that could help.
Do they still have steam trains?
Yeah, they do in the UK. You know, we still have steam fares. I know we're in this tech world, but you know, us lads in the farms, you know, up north, we have our steam trains, mate.
You guys have got to get out of the medieval time. You got to get those bullet trains in Japan.
Oh, well, we'll see. But look, getting back to sport, I know we've had a bit of fun there with that metaphor, but just for somebody listening going quite low in confidence in general, we've given, you know, the why, but let's go a bit depth on the how, but particularly with the tips and methods. Like you've just said, you in this series, you do journaling, you do self-talk as a method. What other methods would you give somebody right now to let's get that planning in place right from the get-go to help somebody build their confidence?
Well, I think visual cues help a lot as well. So, you know, I spoke about the stick-it notes, which I have all over my house. I have in my office table, I have in my mirror in my bathroom, for example, that help my confidence, that remind me of things. Now, if you came into my house or visited, this guy looks crazy. Well, here's the thing: is that confident people speak to themselves a lot. So if you're someone that talks to yourself a lot, you know, number one, what are you saying to yourself, which is very important, because you can either be breaking your confidence down or building it up, just like the wall that we spoke about, for example. Journaling, yes. You know, you could write down, for example, 3 things where I showed confidence today in. Surrounding yourself with people that are more positive people, that are also confident people as well. That helps you well. For me, the 2 most important decisions you can make in life are the people you choose to surround yourself with and the environment that you're in. I think those are very much linked to your confidence as well. If you've got people that are breaking you down all the time and telling you, you know, doubting you and so on, that's not going to help with your confidence, for example. Another area is, and you know this as well, I love my stick-it notes. So I'll have a lot of stick-it notes around the house, in my office, in the bathroom mirror, downstairs, etc., of, you know, encouraging messages, you know, inspire before you expire, or you can do it, or I will. I think I posted that on Twitter the other day. It was on my fridge. You can, you will. So things like that help my confidence. I see them. You know, I also use the example of stick-it notes to develop habits. You know, if it was drinking more water or whatever it may be. And, you know, becoming more confident is a habit as well, is creating the habit of becoming more confident. So those are some ways. The people you surround yourself with, ask yourself, are they building you up or breaking you down? Because that's all about your confidence.
And with us breaking it down, we haven't actually talked about methods of how we can lose confidence from external factors. And there's one I want to talk about is the knowledge we get involved in, if it's social media, if it's news. Like, I just want to touch on this because it's amazing, particularly on social media, where, you know, I don't want to go into this tangent, but there's a lot of athletes who get a lot of abuse due to their skin color, due to how they perform on a sports field. And, you know, they've had to, I know BT are doing a huge campaign with Hope United to solve this. But, you know, just to, not to go too deep on this topic, but with regards to confidence with athletes, you know, use of social media, I think is a really important topic to bring up here, so we can keep that confidence in the right place instead of losing it through external factors of what other people say.
Yeah, I'm very, very glad you brought that up, especially because I know there is a lot of athletes who listen and watch this, who, you know, are even at the elite professional level. And my word of advice is just don't read the things that are going on social media. You know, I've worked with athletes before where they'll admittedly say they'll scroll through the comments and really look for the negative ones. You know, they'll scroll through all the ones that positivity and then see, oh, look. And that, you know, that has a massive effect on them, for example. That's why a lot of teams and coaches will ban their athletes from you know, their cell phones for the day of a game or whatever, because they go start reading stuff that's trolling and negativity and stuff, and that affects you. It really affects you. So it affects all of us. Never mind what you do. So again, it's important to protect what you watch, what you listen to, especially social media. There's a lot of people out there that are just pure haters, trollers. They don't want to see you succeed, and that can rob your confidence. Protect. I always like to say, and I wrote about this in Developing a Winning Attitude and Mindset, my 4th book, is you have to protect your energy. Your energy is your most sacred and most precious thing. Is protect your energy. Protect, from things just like that, like social media, for example. I get rid of negativity and people that just are not contributing to my goals, as selfish as that sounds, or happiness. I get rid of them very quickly.
And that's through blocking, I assume.
Blocking, deleting, banning, whatever it is, and I have no excuse, or should I say, I have no. I don't second think about it. I just delete. Even negativity on Facebook that they're even friends. I know there's a button where you can just hide their comments. You don't necessarily have to ban them, but all these things contribute to your confidence. All these things contribute to your happiness. All the things that you're taking in on a daily basis, what you're downloading in your computer brain, for example. Again, environment and people.
And really quickly, you just said a really great word there. And again, it's overused, a bit of a buzzword with this word happiness, but how is that linked as well? Breaking down confidence, that really does lead to fulfillment and happiness in how we show up in what we do.
Yeah, I prefer, happiness is, we've all heard it before, is not a destination. It's a choice. Joy for me is massive. Having joy in doing things or spending with people instead of happiness. Happiness can be fleeting. So it's very much linked to your confidence. Truly confident people are content with themselves. They're okay with facing their vulnerabilities and their weaknesses. Those are confident people. Is that you're not afraid to be vulnerable. You're not afraid to confront your limiting factors or your weaknesses, and still be okay with that.
Absolutely. Now we're getting near the end now, and we've said so much in this second part. Could you just provide a recap of the 3 important elements of building our confidence? Because we've said quite a lot there, but if you had to give your top 3 as a recap perspective, what would they be?
Building confidence, again, preparation, putting in the work. Number 2, the self-talk, what you're saying to yourself, how you're controlling your thoughts, how you're blocking negative thoughts and changing those to positive ones. And the 3rd one is momentum. The more reps you do, again, it's like a muscle, building a muscle. Confidence is a muscle that has to be trained every single day. So, and just to add on there, again, I know I'm repeating myself here, is environment that you're in and the people you surround yourself with. All those things contribute to your confidence overall.
Fantastic. To all the listeners listening in, I hope you've enjoyed part 2 of this Mental Toughness series. Let Allistair and myself know on Twitter with hashtag Mental Toughness Series. What was your biggest takeaway? I hope you've enjoyed the second part. We'll see you in part 3, which is all about the importance of mindfulness with regards to our mental toughness.
So guys, there you have it. I hope you enjoyed that one on our Mental Toughness Series Part 2 on building confidence. If you didn't perhaps maybe listen to episode 1 or part 1 of the Mental Toughness Series, it's episode 143 on the Champion Minded podcast. Next week, we bring our final part on mindfulness, and we'll be talking a little bit about mental health there as well. Like Ed said, please send in your feedback, send in your questions. We'd love to hear from you, of course, with the hashtag Mental Toughness Series. As always, this podcast is available on iTunes, YouTube, Amazon Podcasts, and via my website, AllistairMcCaw.com. Connect with me on social media. I'm on Twitter at Allistair McCaw, Facebook, Allistair McCaw page, and on Instagram, Be Champion Minded.
Until next time, remember, you were made for greatness. Now go do the work. Stay champion-minded.